What's up, guys? We're back from vacation. Had to get my thoughts together. Um, a lot of big things happened while I was gone. Draft, Cavs beat the Heat. Cavs lost to the Pacers. Browns took my favorite quarterback in the draft. Browns basically traded away my favorite player in the draft. Browns got Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel. Um, yeah, so we'll get into it. Um, we'll get into the Browns things a little bit later, but front of mind right now, today, as I'm recording, game two, Cavs versus Pacers is tonight, and we may have a problem. I don't really, I don't really want to admit that. I don't really want to start this off by saying that, but I think we have a problem. Um, so first off, we don't know if Darius Garland is coming back tonight. I'm hoping he'll be back at some point, but we don't know yet as of recording if he's going to play or not, but he's trending upwards. Um, but listed as a game time decision, so we'll see. Um, him not being out there wasn't really the issue with the Cavs on Sunday night. Um, it was more about their defense and their ball movement. We didn't necessarily need somebody else out there who can score the ball because, fortunately for the Cavs, they do have multiple people that can score the basketball, get a bucket when they need to get a bucket. Obviously, you got Mitchell, you got Ty Jerome, Evan Mobley had a very good offensive game, I think, on Sunday. Um, and DeAndre Hunter can has shown that he can get his own shots. So shot creating and shot making isn't necessarily um, where we missed Darius Garland at. We need somebody that is willing to pass the ball out there. That's what we missed on Sunday. Um, the offense was stagnant. It was a lot of ISO ball, a lot of hero ball, and I understand that's worked for Donovan Mitchell somewhat in the past. But that's not something that we really want to get into in Cleveland. That is not how our roster is set up. And frankly, that's just not, I don't think that is the best use of the talent that the Cavs have. And that's not the best use of Donovan Mitchell's talents. Donovan Mitchell's talents, he can get you 70 um by doing what he's trying to do. Yes, I understand that, but the Cavs work a lot better if he gets you 30 within the system. They work better if he gets you 24 within the system. And Ty Jerome's giving you 19. If Darius Garland is out there giving you 18, Evan Mobley giving you 20, Jared Allen cleaning everything up, giving you 15 and 15. It's like they're deep. Like this is probably the deepest team in the NBA. And losing one player shouldn't be the death knell for this team. And I don't think it would be. Um, but they gotta come out. They gotta run some offense. They gotta get into their sets. They gotta stop trying to ISO the Pacers because clearly it's not working. Clearly it did not work on Sunday. Um, they were able to get back in the game. They made some tough shots. They were able to create open shots off of the ISO, but long term, I don't think that's sustainable with the guys that we have. Like people are going to get open shots, but the open shots that you're going to get are an Isaac Okoro corner three, and nobody wants that. Nobody needs that in their offense. So yeah, On the offensive side of the ball, they got to come down. They got like it sounds simple, but they just got to pass it around. They got to run like they got to run that one basketball practice drill where you got to make four passes before you take the shot. Like you shouldn't have to implement that with NBA players, but that may be what they need to do to facilitate ball movement, facilitate getting the ball around the court, finding open lanes, distributing the ball where it needs to go. The Cavs work better when everybody is in double digits, not Donovan trying to get his, Ty Jerome trying to get his, and Evan Mobley trying to get his. It works better when Jared Allen accidentally finds 14 points. It works better when Sam Merrill has 12 points because he's hit four threes because he's been wide open. Works excellent when Max Strus gets 21 because he's hit six threes and some free throws. That's the way that they need to be playing. Um, I love Donovan Mitchell. I love him. Um, I couldn't have said that before he was traded here. I wasn't really a fan, but that was more Rudy Gobert stench on him than anything else. But now that I've seen him, now that I've watched him, now that I've cheered for him, um, I know what he's capable of. Is he capable of beating this Pacers team by himself with iso ball? Maybe, but we don't want that. We don't want to get into that habit because whoever you end up playing in the next round, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to win that way. So let's not get into those habits right now. We can nip it in the bud and play like we've played for the majority of the season, where we've been the one seed wire to wire. Just keep doing that. On the defensive end, there was a lot of open threes given up on Sunday. A lot of wide open threes. So obviously that can't happen. To whatever you got to do to shut that down, you have to do it. Um, I guess if that means I wouldn't like it, but if it means playing a core out there, if it means only playing one big out there, um, just one of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, you got to do it. Whatever adjustment that you need to make that needs to be made in order to cut down on the open threes, you have to do it. Um, Now I don't think that the Pacers would shoot 53% from three again like they did. But they're more than capable of shooting if you give them wide open looks. They're more than capable of shooting 42, 45, 48%. Um, so whatever needs to be done to to stop the open threes, it has to be done. It just flat out has to be done because that performance, the offense wasn't what lost us the game on Sunday. It was the defense. Um, which brings me to my next point. Um, I'm not gonna say that the Cavs lost because of the officials, because I don't want to be that guy, but what the hell, man? Pacers beating our ass down there. Like, and it was legal. It was like a UFC fight out there. It was like Draymond Green was out there. So, I mean, the obviously the two plays that everybody is going to talk about, the the DeAndre Hunter play where his shot got blocked, like real time. I myself thought it was a clean block, had no problem with it. But when they went to review, like whoever was a hand, put a big hand on Hunter's chest to like stop his motion, and be able to get the shot block. If if somebody is midair and gets a hand put on their chest, if that's not a foul in the NBA, I don't know what is. Because any contact when you're midair is like basically should be called for a foul, especially if it's forceful to the chest. So after replay and they watched it happen, I don't know how they came to the conclusion that there wasn't a foul, but fine, whatever. And then when Evan Mobley twisted his ankle, he had no room to come down. He twisted his ankle because he came down on a Pacers defender. The rules are like you are supposed to be able to get landing space. Evan Mobley got no landing space. So now two of our two more of our best players, Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter, are on the injured list. They're also game time decisions. We don't know as of recording if they're going to play. So we might be down three of our best players. Two of them because the refs didn't want to do their jobs correctly. So not gonna say we lost because of the officials, but we may lose going forward because we don't have two of our best players because the officials were letting shit go. I will say that. But we'll see. Hopefully hopefully we're over exaggerating on Twitter. Hopefully we're just thinking of the worst and the worst isn't actually happening. Hopefully they'll be able to play. Hopefully they'll be able to play close to 100%. Even if it's not 100%, 80% of Evan Mobley is better than 100% of Tristan Thompson, man. 80% of DeAndre Hunter is better than 100% of Isaac Okoro or Sam Merrill or Dean Wade. It just is. Um, so if those boys are able to get out there and play, I hope they get out there and play. Don't take an example from Jared Allen last year, um, where he might have been able to get out there and play if he took some if he got that injection. But I can't tell people to ingest things in their body that they don't want to. Like it's okay. Jared didn't make that decision when we needed him desperately, but it is what it is. Um, but yeah, hopefully that's not necessary for Mobley and Hunter, and hopefully it's not necessary for DG either. Um, but man, we really need those guys. We really need those guys. Yeah, I'm really hoping that they're able to play because we need without Mobley and without Hunter on defense, it's gonna really be a struggle. We're really gonna struggle closing out on those shooters, man. If we don't have Mobley and Hunter out there, um, we're capable we're capable of winning without them, and that's like no shot to the Pacers. It's just a testament to how deep the Cavaliers are. But it'll be hard. I I don't want to have to watch that and think about that and hope that they can do it without the guys. But um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see who gets announced to play. If anybody's out, we'll deal with it when we get to it. So, um, but one more thing I do want to say about the Cavs. Shout out to Max Struess for his game one and his game one efforts. I'm not gonna say I've never seen, but I was very impressed with the effort, the sheer full effort that he was putting up on that floor on Sunday to get loose balls, rebounds, making the right plays, um, doing doing the things that needed to be done when nobody else was doing them. Um, and like I I just wanted to be the one to come out and say like shout out to Max Strus because like I noticed it, I saw it, I know a lot of people saw it, a lot of people noticed, but I wanted to speak to that. He gave everything he had for for the team on his chest. He gave everything for the Cavs, and I can appreciate somebody that plays like that. So shout out to him. So I know everybody wants me to talk about the Browns, talk about this Browns draft. I've been getting questions. How do you feel? What do you think happened? What are your thoughts? Um, so let's just get into it. Um, so overall, I think the Browns had a very good draft, a very 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 good draft, and actually like the kind of drafts that dare I say like a good team would do would have um because every single one of the players that they took I knew a pretty good amount about pre-draft, and I had positive thoughts on all of them. Um like I felt generally positive about all the players that they ended up taking. And that's not usually something you can say about any team's draft, and especially a Cleveland Browns draft. So the fact the fact that I I felt positively about everybody that they picked, um, I think is a good sign. Um, but overall, I think they had a very very good draft. Um, now the elephant in the room is picking Dylan Gabriel in the third round. And the bigger elephant in the room is them taking Shador Sanders in the fifth round. Now we don't need to get into the slide. I'm really not gonna get into his slide falling out of the first round. Um the issues he may have or may not have had with the Giants. His interviews. I'm not gonna get into uh the draft party, what he did after he got drafted, how he celebrated the $1 million Louis Vuitton briefcase. I'm not gonna get into any real off the field stuff. I know I know by this at this point anyway that you watching, you have to be sick of it, because if you're watching me talk about Browns coverage, then I know that means that you watch a lot of people talk about Browns coverage and the NFL at large, and people have not stopped talking about it since it's happened. Um, every move he make, every picture that he posts, every video that he's captured in is like a headline news story. Um, so I don't want to add to that. We will have plenty of time from now until September to talk about Shador Sanders and how that's going. Because trust and believe, we will be talking about him going forward, obviously. Um, but there's no need to get into all that off the field stuff because, like he said in like in one of his post draft interviews, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. He doesn't matter where he got picked, how he got picked, how it happened, what the process was, what he did during the draft process. None of that actually matters now. It's just about football now. And if something else off the field comes up after this that we need to discuss, we'll discuss it. But there's no need for me to be another voice talking about all that other stuff. Um, so now that we have that out of the way, the elephant in the room is about the draft is why did they pick Dylan Gabriel in the third round? And then why did they go ahead and take Shador Sanders in the fifth round? Um, so I just want to say at the beginning, in a vacuum, a team that doesn't have a quarterback, them taking multiple shots in the draft on a quarterback, I fully support. I'm 100% behind that. Like the most notable is of recent memory in my mind is probably RG3 and Kirk Cousins. Um, Neither of those really worked out for the Washington organization. Um, but it was a good try. I see what they were trying to do. They kind of mangled it and had bad relationship with RG3 and chose Kirk Cousins over him, like which in hindsight looks like the right move, but things could have been done differently if maybe they protected RG3 a little bit more. His knee wouldn't have been shredded to pieces. Maybe he would have been able to be healthier longer. Who knows? Um, but they took two quarterbacks. One was really good from the jump, and the other one is still playing. The Cleveland Browns were trying to get him to be their starting quarterback, so they they chose a good one. If he's still playing 13 years later, um, so there's that. Another example, I think. Um, Actually, no, I didn't. I'm not even gonna say it because I didn't research it, and I think no, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna say it because I think I'm wrong anyway. Um, but yeah, more teams that don't have quarterbacks should be taking multiple quarterbacks at points in the draft. Um, I will say on the Washington point, it is kind of maybe a bit counterproductive if you take one in the first and then one also in the fourth. Um, that is a little bit odd, but you don't have a quarterback taking one in the third, one in the fifth. Just again, in a vacuum, that process I'm a fan of. I have zero qualms with it. Um, the qualms that I and most people had was not necessarily the fact that in the third round you didn't take Shador Sanders. Um, well, I had that qualm, but that was just personal. Um, that was just personal for me at that point. But as a Browns fan, not necessarily that you didn't take Shador, but the fact that you took Dylan Gabriel in the third. Um, Dylan Gabriel is short. Dylan Gabriel small. Dylan Gabriel, for all the talk about how Shador's arm isn't strong, Sh- Dylan Gabriel's arm is less strong than Shador's, I believe. And like I fail to see his prospect profile as one that was better than Shador's, that was better than Will Howard's. Um, I know at this point we've talked a lot about Quinn Ewers. I'd rather have Quinn Ewers and just bet on the 5-star ranking over Dylan Gabriel, but I could be wrong about that. Like I wouldn't I'm not standing on business about Quinn Ewers, um but surely I would have taken Will Howard over Dylan Gabriel if you weren't going to take Shador in the third at that point. So that was that like up until that point, the Browns had an excellent draft, like excellent draft, taking Mason Graham, Quinshawn Judkins, I don't know how to say his last name. I haven't paid attention enough. Linebacker from UCLA. Um, and then we show up and we take Dylan Gabriel. Not to mention the trading back from two. Um, and we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, Dylan Gabriel in the third. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. And like not to say that he should have gone undrafted. He definitely was a draftable prospect. I don't hate him. Like I said at the beginning, I don't have like I had a generally positive feeling about Dylan Gabriel. Um, he was accurate. And he does like he's older. Um, but depending on how older you are, I don't necessarily always find that to be a negative. I do like my quarterback prospects to have a lot of starts under their belt, just because it means you've played more football, you've seen more defenses, you've had to react to more things, you have a little bit more in your tool belt. Um, so I don't dislike those guys that are a little bit older. I do dislike those guys like Tyler Shuck, who are 26, 25, 26, that were backing up Justin Herbert when Justin Herbert was in college, and he's now in the middle of his second contract in the NFL. But I'm not going to get off on that tangent right now. Um, but yeah, like reasonably older, I don't really have a problem with because, like I said, more experience, the more that you've seen, I think it can be helpful. So generally, I was positive about Dylan Gabriel. Um, just not in the third round. If like if at the time they took Shador with the third round pick and they took Dylan Gabriel with a fifth round pick, there's there's no issue. We like it would have felt correct. Like would have been no issue. But Browns like Dylan Gabriel, they took him, and then Shador kept falling, and they said, "Well, at this point, we gotta try." Um, it seems like their front office had like their office and coaching staff like had good meetings, good pre-draft process with him, so it made sense for them to end up taking him. Um, but yeah, like two two quarterbacks again, generally in a vacuum, love the process. So I'm not mad. I'm not really mad that they took two quarterbacks. Would have loved it to have been Will Howard and Shador Sanders. Would have loved it. if that was the case. Um, but it wasn't. So gotta move on. But again, feel good, feel good about what they did during the draft. Um, I think it was a success. I think it was a success overall. They got good players. That's the most important thing. Other than the quarterbacks, because obviously we don't know what they're gonna be, if they're gonna be good or not. But everywhere else we got good players. Still need receiving help, still need O line help, but for what they got, they did get good players. And I'm happy about that. Um so let's talk about the trading back from 2 to 5 to get Mason Graham, essentially trading away Travis Hunter at 2 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They gave they gave the Browns a 2026 first round pick and their what 36 overall pick in the second round. As much as I love Travis Hunter, and in hindsight, as much as cool as it would have been to have Shador and Travis on the same NFL team, my NFL team, as amazing as that as would have been, you you could not you could not decline that trade. There was no way on earth you could decline moving back from 2 to 5 and getting another first round pick and another second round pick from the Jaguars. Now, I I'm a huge fan of Trevor Lawrence. If you know me, you know that. Um, but they're not guaranteed to do anything. So that pick could be anywhere. That first round pick could be anywhere in the order next year. Could be top 5 again. Could be top 10. Could be top 15. Could be could be in the early 20s. It could be anywhere. But it is a first round pick and it will be useful. So you could not say no to that offer. Um as much as I was disappointed when it first happened. Um and boy did was I disappointed. I was disappointed. I wanted Travis Hunter. I wanted him to be a Brown. I wanted him to work with Stefanski. I wanted Andrew Berry and the Ivy Leaguers to create a plan for him to play both sides of the ball. Um, but they they made the correct decision and they moved back. They got assets and they did what they needed to do for the organization moving forward. And I, it was the right call because they got Mason Graham at 5, and I don't think Mason Graham can fail. Now it remains to be seen what his ceiling is. Um, I don't think he's gonna ever be a double digit sack guy because he's a defensive tackle, but he will play the run and he'll play the run hard and he'll move people around and he will free up people from blocking Myles Garrett. And we know Myles Garrett cannot be guarded one on one at all by anyone. So that'll be useful. It won't necessarily show up in Mason Graham's box scores in his stat sheet. So there's gonna be a lot of people, well, oh, they traded back, they took Mason Graham and he only has He only had 2 tackles and no sacks this game, no TFLs. Well, what you didn't see is he had to get double teamed. What you didn't see is the manpower it took during the week to game plan for him and also Myles Garrett at the same time. Um, or the run game coordinator trying to figure out how you handle him, um, how you handle him and get up to the second level, block linebackers, create holes. Um, it's gonna be like he's gonna be an issue for teams to deal with, but I just want to set expectations going forward. Like it's not gonna be crazy stat lines, crazy in the box scores. Like you're not gonna see him necessarily make a whole lot of plays. It'll be it'll be in the other people making plays around him, and the film will show that. The stats may or I mean maybe I'm underselling him. Maybe he might do all those and maybe he gets 11 sacks. I would love that. I would very much appreciate that. So they got good like again, they got good players and they had to take that trade and I'm glad that they did. They did get Mason Graham as much as I wanted Travis, but it is what it is. So, last thing, saying so a lot, my bad. The last thing I want to talk about is going back to Shador. Not going to talk about anything off the field. We're talking strictly football. Talking strictly football. That guy has simultaneously all of the pressure on him and also no pressure on him because somehow at the same time he is someone whose every move will be analyzed, tweeted about, made into a headline, but he's also a fifth round pick. And the expectations for quarterback at fifth round for fifth round picks is is backup, is guy holding the clipboard. Like in the fit like third or fourth round, you're hoping backup. Fifth or later, you're hoping emergency third quarterback. You're hoping for camp arm. You're hoping developmental guy in the fifth round, and you take a quarterback. You're depending on the guy. Like if you take the guy the Raiders took, you're hoping for different position. You're hoping Julian Edelman. Like that's what you're doing when you take a quarterback fifth round or later. And he definitely will have the highest expectations possible for a fifth round pick, for a fifth round quarterback. Because the way that Brown's quarterback room is set up, like the way I believe in him and the way some of us believe in the talent that he has, if he's able just to like keep his head down and do the work that we know that he's capable of doing, he should be the starter in this room. Because if you just take him as prospects, I know Shador Sanders is better than Dylan Gabriel. Like I know that. I know it in my bones. I know that. And I know a lot of other people do. A lot of people don't want to say it, but it is true. Shador is better than Dylan Gabriel. I don't care. I don't care what the stats say, who they played against. If you just watch the tape, he is better. So I'm not getting into that. Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is somebody that should be getting ready. Joe Flacco is somebody that should be signing a 1 day contract with the Baltimore Ravens and retiring as a Raven. That is the age that Joe Flacco is at and what he should be doing. Just because Tom Brady played football until 45 years old doesn't mean that Joe Flacco needs to be out here at 40, 41, or however old he is, still cashing checks, still throwing footballs in the National Football League. It's really it's really not necessary. Um and people ask like who's gonna get cut because you're not gonna take four quarterbacks into the 53-man roster. It's Joe Flacco. It's Joe Flacco. Just and you call me ageist, ableist, whatever you want to say. The fucker's old. Sit him down. Sit him the fuck down and go home. Be a family man, Joe. So if you like, if you want to debate about who's the one getting cut, he's the one that should probably be getting cut. You spent fifth round capital on trade for Kenny Pickett. You use Dylan Gabriel, you third round pick on Dylan Gabriel. He's making the team no matter what. And then you got Shador, fifth round pick capital on him as well. But he's an unknown. He has a ceiling. We'll see what happens, how that works out. Joe Flacco has no ceiling. And Joe Flacco also has no floor. As we in this city have seen in the playoffs, where he threw God knows how many pick sixes. There's no floor. So it could be as bad as possible. It could it was we did have some high highs. That was 2 years ago. Stop putting all your faith in Joe Flacco. Um, I didn't mean to go off on a Flacco tangent, but whatever. Um, and Kenny Pickett. Knowing what I know, seeing what I have seen, I think Shador should be better than Kenny Pickett, but I have no reason to say I have no proof to say that he is better than him right now. All I can say is that he should be better. And that I think he is better, but I can't say that I know he's better. I know he's better than Dylan Gabriel because they both have no NFL experience. And I watched them both play multiple years in college. So if they're both at the same starting point, Shador's better. Shador has to show and prove. He so the the thing is for him and Dylan Gabriel, whatever opportunities that they get, though they have to capitalize on those opportunities immediately because they have no time. They have no time to fuck around, no time to dilly dally. They got to get to it as soon as they get to it because those two first round picks in 2026 are looming large. That is like a cloud over their their quarterback room specifically because if Dylan gets a shot, he gets out there and he doesn't show anything. Then Shador gets out there, doesn't show anything. Buddy, those two picks getting traded, going up to one, and they're getting whoever they see fit. Maybe it's Cade Klubnik. Hopefully it's not Drew Aller. Maybe it's Lenore Sellers. Maybe it's Fernando Mendoza. Shout out to my guy Corey. Um, but they're getting whoever they want to get. And it's like, and people will be ready. People will be ready. Get both of those dudes out of here. Let's let's start the future. Let's get the future started immediately. So if they get an opportunity, any opportunity that they get, they have to show immediate flashes. And it probably is unfair, but for both of them, they got to show more than flashes. They got to be as consistent as possible as early as possible. Because if if they don't, if they end 2025 and the coaching staff, the organization, the front office, if they don't know that they have their guy, they will be going to get their guy in the 2026 NFL draft. They will be. They will be doing it. They have the means to get it. If they like, no matter what they have to trade, the city will be behind them because we know that they need a quarterback. It will be what it will be. And though like both Dylan and Shador will be shipped out of here promptly. Like no controversy, no none of that. They might bring Joe Flacco back as the next guy's backup just so like there's no issue. Just so there's no issue. Like Flacco's old as dirt. He's no threat to our new young shining champion Drew Aller. Like with like it'll be instantaneous. The switch will be flipped and they'll be gone and the new hotness will be in town. So if you're Dylan Gabriel, if you're Shador Sanders, please know that if you want to be the starter in Cleveland, you have to get in there, you have to use your opportunity, and you have to leave no doubt. It has to be no doubt. It has to be, wow, we got our guy in the third round, or wow, we got our guy in the fifth round. Look how lucky we are. I can't believe we did this. It has to be that. If it's any less than, oh my God, we found our guy, you're not. It's gone. It's done. It's over. So that's all I gotta say. But Browns had a good draft. It's Browns had a good draft. I'm glad with who they got. Quarterbacks, they gotta show up, gotta do they got it's on them. It's on them. They gotta show and prove. They gotta earn their keep. That's all. That's it and that's all, man. Um so yeah, thanks for thanks for watching. Thanks for watching with me, rocking with me. Um if you're still here, if you're still here after all this yapping today, thank you. I appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I had 2 weeks of stuff to get off my chest. So back on a normal schedule. Hopefully, like I took some time, got a little bit of new equipment, make it look a little better, a little bit more HD for you. So uh, so yeah, until the next time, we'll see you.